If you like traveling foreign countries and seeing for what they really are, just like us, the chances are your best bet is traveling by car. And if you want to take your car to travel across Europe, then this video is going to explain what you need to equip it with. Hello beautiful explorers. So if you're watching this video, it's likely that you're planning to go on a road trip, and so this is going to be a little bit of advice for you what you need to take with your car when you're traveling, well, across the Europe mainly, as we're going actually exploring just France and Italy, but I suspect these rules may and actually will apply to most of the European countries anyways. So we're traveling actually from the UK, which is a slightly different requirement altogether from the car point of view. But let me just talk through all of them. So, to make life easier, I've sort of split these things into two categories. One is the insurance and legal, as I call it, and then there are the other category, which is sort of car essentials, or what you need to carry with you in the car. That doesn't mean though that the legal and insurance does not apply to carrying with you. So let's start with the legal and insurance first. So first things first, what you need to carry with you is your car registration. That is looking something like this here in the UK. That is your VC5 form. That's just something you need to carry in the car just in case police pulls you over and sort of request your document. Second thing, what you need to do is you need to carry your insurance. This in particular is a green card, which is a proof of sort of third-party insurance that applies to when you're traveling across Europe for 15 days or over, although it makes life easier if you get the green card even if you travel less than 15 days. That does not mean though that you don't need an insurance when you travel for just 2 or 3 days. You still need one. And then you also need these European accident statement form, which is basically a free PDF form you can download online in 6 or 7 different languages. It's just a form that you need to fill out in case you have an accident, though fingers crossed you won't need it. And that's kind of covering the documentation and insurance bit. Then from the legal standpoint, there are little weird laws here and there, and in our case in particular, what we found out is that if you do travel through France or to France as your main destination, depending on where you go, you also need an additional document, the air quality certificate as they call it. That is mandatory in Paris, Lyon, and I believe 1 or 2 other cities as well. As we are staying in Lyon, we need the air quality certificate, which looks something like that. It's just basically a form that you need to fill out online. It's in French, unfortunately, although they've started to make it in English as well. It's really just a new requirement. France never really likes to announce these kinds of things, and there's a fine, I believe, of up to 112 or 115 euros if you do not have this piece of document here. It costs 5 euros, but it helps you avoid any inconvenience it might cause you. Hope you like the birds there. Anyways, so the next requirement here is Euro lights. This is specific to British registered cars, as they are right hand side, and therefore the beams are sort of adjusted towards the outer side here in the UK, but obviously driving in Europe, that would mean that you would be blinding any oncoming traffic. So these are meant to be, basically these are stickers that go on your headlamps, and now there's a video how to put them on. So the way you put on the Euro lights is basically you find your mark and model of the car. Then once you buy these ones, there's an instruction that's coming with it. So now I know that I used diagram number 1. So what you do, diagram number 1 is basically 6 o'clock position of the if you're running bulb. So what they call it as a dipping bulb actually. And then you take this one off, use just the round one, and you apply it directly below the dipping light in the 6 o'clock position, just like that.
And that's it?
And that's it, yeah. Right, next there is a requirement that you need to carry your country sticker on the car. That is in case if your registration plate does not have the European flag with the country symbols. Fortunately my car does have, so I don't really need this sticker, but I got it anyways, just in case. Now let's move on to car essentials, or the things that you really want to carry in your car, and they are actually in some cases a legal requirement, so check that one out. There's a link gonna be in the description below this video. So first things first, parking. So this is a parking clock. This one comes actually with a little socket where you can put your insurance paper. I'm not sure really why would you do that, but because in mainland Europe you can park sometimes for 1 or 2 hours for free, it's a very useful thing to have. It's not a requirement, but if you park somewhere, say at 12 o'clock at midday, and you only have 2 hour free parking and you're only going to be out for an hour, why would you pay? Just put a clock and say what time you arrived. If you do not have this one, it is going to be considered as you have to pay for parking, so helps to avoid any even little inconvenience. Okay, so next, in France this is a legal requirement that you need to carry a high visibility jacket in the car, and you do need to carry one for each passenger. So in our case, as we're going to be traveling the two of us with Veronica, we need one for each of us. It's a really cheap thing to buy on eBay, Amazon, wherever, £2 or £3. It doesn't cost you much, but it's a legal requirement. Then obviously what you also need is a first aid kit, which is basically bandages and tapes and plasters, nothing else really, but it's useful to have in a car. Next thing, in France, apparently it is a legal requirement again to carry a bulb kit or spare bulb, just in case if the bulb sort of dies on you. It is because in France it is illegal to drive with just one or none of the bulbs running, so they must be on at all times, and you must be able to replace it there and then if that happens. So that's a legal requirement, and it doesn't really cost much. Again, it's about £6 or £7 for the whole kit, so just go and get it. So next on my list is this emergency warning triangle. Quite a lot of new cars actually have this one in the car, in the boot, so you should just check it out. If you do not have it, then you do need to carry this one, especially in France, as they are very, very particular with their rules, and the police really likes to stop any foreign cars just to check if they do have these, this kit with them, and it's just, yeah, it's just something any car should have anyways. So in France there also used to be a requirement that you need to carry a breathalyser kit with you in the car at all times. However, that's a law that they have sort of put on pause or put on hold for the time being. We don't know when it's going to come back, if it's going to come back at all, but they have put it on pause. They haven't dismissed it completely. So instead of it being a legal requirement, now it's just a friendly suggestion. And all of that you can buy, well, from companies AA or RAC or any similar. They offer these traveler kits in Europe where all of these things come in as standard. This one we got here wasn't the full kit. This one didn't come with the breathalyzers and I believe 1 or 2 other things. It's just simply because there's no longer a legal need for them, so therefore we didn't go for them. They do cost reasonable amount. £25 as far as I remember. It wasn't anything too bank-breaking, but it's still a cost that will avoid any potential fees, but it's still a cost. And then last but not the least, obviously what you need to take with you is some shades and good mood. That was awkward. Okay. Also, shades actually have some practical purpose, because when you're driving, it doesn't really matter whether it's cold or hot outside. When the sun is shining and it's not cloudy, there is quite a lot of reflection coming in from the road and through the window, so yeah, shades is definitely a good idea.